crisis decision making only gets better with training. What do I mean by that? So one of my jobs, I was the deputy commander of the Canadian NORAD region, which is the North American Aerospace Defense Command. The responsibility of NORAD, which you might have heard of, is to defend the skies of Canada and the United States. And as the deputy commander in Canada, my responsibility was to really focus on Canadian airspace. If we were to choose to shoot down a threat aircraft, think like 9/11, the permission to do that comes from the Prime Minister of Canada. Okay? So when I got there into Canada, I asked my staff, I said, when was the last time the Prime Minister had trained for this? And unfortunately, they told me never. I said, oh, okay. So I called up the Prime Minister's office and I spoke to one of his chiefs of staff and said, when can we get the Prime Minister trained on this? And they said, Jack, you know, we have a great staff and he's a very good decision maker and he's just super busy. I'm like, okay, let's run a scenario. Let's say in 2 weeks, an aircraft gets hijacked and the hijackers say they're going to fly that aircraft into the Parliament building in Ottawa and kill as many people as they can. And the decision is made to shoot it down. The next day at the press conference, when the reporter asked the Prime Minister, Mr. Prime Minister, how did you decide what you were going to do? He has a couple of options at this point. One, the option could be, well, I didn't really have a lot of training at this, so I listened to the generals, and they told me to do it, and so I did it. Or, this is the hardest decision I've ever had to make in my life, and I will think about it every day. But I was trained. I understood the gravity of the decision that I had to make, but at the time, it was the best decision I could make to save lives on the ground. Which do you think would be a better answer? 2 weeks later, the Prime Minister's at our training facility getting trained. Smart guys and gals, they get it, right? So as they were leaving, though, this was the thing. As they were leaving, the individual that I had been working with, he comes to me and says, hey, Jack, I thought we were just coming here to kind of check a box. And what we realize now is that because we understand the process, we're going to make a better decision. I'm like, that's it, right? That training leads to a better decision under pressure. Now, in my 4 decades of pressure decisions, as a fighter pilot in combat, as a commander of roughly 35,000 warfighters in Afghanistan during the surge, as the defender of North America from ballistic missile attacks, floods, fires, hurricanes, counterterrorism, cyber, you name it. If it had to do with the Department of Defense, supporting the defense of North America, that came through my office. And then when I retired and went into higher education with thousands of students, faculty, and administrators across multiple campuses in multiple countries, I've recognized that the best decision makers have 3 characteristics. 3. The first is they make their decision based on principles. Principles. The second is they are humble enough to ask for help. And the third is they're decisive. So what does that look like? Imagine an archer, okay? So we've got an archer and there's targets all around her as she is getting ready to shoot her arrow. Your principles point in the direction of the target you're going to shoot at. It guides you right off the bat in this sector, in that direction, right? The second thing is she pulls the bow back about here, but if she is humble enough to ask for help, she'll fully empower the bow. Fully empower it for the best shot. And she's decisive. She doesn't hesitate here because she's confident that she's making the best decision that she could make at the time. Just like that Prime Minister, right? Best decision we can make at that time.